Hey everyone, welcome back to the Elite Real Estate Podcast. I'm here with Dr. Noel Liu. He was just catching us up on his life before real estate and where he is at in his real estate journey. And now we're on today where he is a major investor in storage units, industrial flex space. And if you check out the end of our last episode, we were just getting into all the benefits of what makes industrial flex space a lot better and easier to deal with than storage units. So, man, why don't I just kind of let you go open ended and just tell us like what are all the benefits that you love about industrial flex space?
All right, first of all, Sam, thanks for having me back, and let's talk about it. Let's dive deep in it.
Yeah.
So with flex, it's professionals, number one, right? We got people from all kind of trades. They're in there. The leases are backed by their businesses. And these guys mainly, for the majority part, are paying their rents on time. That's number one. Number two, most of the flex spaces are all triple nets. So again, triple net meaning that the tenant is responsible for everything but the roof, the structure, and the land, right? So anytime,
does an insurance go up? It's not your problem, right?
Not my problem because the entire space. Well, we have insurance, but to do the whole building and stuff. But anything that happens on the inside of the unit is the tenant's insurance that's going to kick in. And the best part is if there's a toilet leak, there's a termite problem. It's not my problem.
Yeah, no, those are all the best benefits because I mean. I manage about 20 single families, but between my personal ones and the ones my parents have, and between every time I get a call from one of my tenants, immediately when I see the caller ID, no, they're not calling to tell me, hey, I hope you're having a great day, Sam. I just wanted to check in with you. It's always to call me about a problem. Usually water related. It's usually a leaky sink, a leaky toilet.
Always.
That's generally the problem. So it's like you as a landlord, you start dreading answering your phone if you're self-managing.
And I don't know how you do it with single families, but I have a lot of colleagues and they're actually running like a couple of houses, with long-term, mid-term rentals. And it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. They really have to be in there changing out everything after every time a tenant leaves and making all the maintenance and stuff. But with this industrial, man, I mean, it's like you move in, you move out, somebody else is going to move in within like a month. It's really, really hot because most of the times they are actually looking for spaces and they are on a waiting list to see if anybody's moving, or they would even want to wait till they can expand the other guys who are going to move out from next door. And we have a lot.
That makes sense. So what are the kinds of industries that would typically rent a flex space from you?
Let's put it this way. I'm in Peoria and I am renting a couple of spaces myself. From this guy. He's an electrician, by the way. So he made a few spaces right here behind us about 10 minutes away. And I'm renting a space there. So if you're asking who are the tenants, so one of my space is there just for me to park my cars.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So if you would ask a use, I would say it's multi-use. You can use it literally for anything. The space next door, my brother has it and he does paint protection film in there. So he's doing like the PPF stuff for the cars, right? The space next door, it's a space where they're doing aerial, like hanging off the ceiling. And so my daughter goes there, right?
Yeah, so it's like one of those gyms that we have the ribbons that they do all the hanging.
Yeah, right. And then the third space has a photography space that's going on, and then we have a GC that's occupying one of the space, and then right after that is a plumber that's occupying a space. So that kind of gives you a perspective of how wide this can go. And then we have a tobacco shop.
That's way wider than I thought. I could have agreed. I could have picked out the GC and the plumber. Like that's who I envisioned. But these other ones, like,
And then the space, then he got so busy that he made like 6 more spots. So 6 more spots. Then we have an aquarium guy, a saltwater aquarium guy went in there. Then there's an HVAC. And right behind it, there's this weird place. It's like, where they sell like those tobacco products.
Yeah.
But they don't want to be in a retail setting because it's going to be way higher in the rent. So this is exactly the precise space. And what they do is they're subleasing the back space to somebody else. So, I mean, if you go out, you can go really wild with this space. What do you want to do with them? So if you ask me who the tenants are, The tenants can be anywhere from a retail to anything being a contractor.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's just like I said, that's just such a bigger variety than I thought because I definitely pictured all the blue collar type trades that
Yeah.
you would typically have, that needs, places to store materials, trucks and whatnot. But I didn't even think about, successful guys needing, extra garage space for their cars,
Right.
The saltwater aquariums. I mean, yeah, that's I mean, it's such a great idea because again, you need a lot of space and I mean, and a lot of I know a lot of the aquarium places actually need to be in a little bit warmer temperature, so it's not really like you're worried about
No.
having
Because
heavy air.
like in my space, I have like full HVAC system inside, right? And then a lot of times with these aquarium places, what happens is there's a lot of humidity. So what he was telling me was if he went in a regular space, the ceilings are low. There's be a lot of water entrapment inside the air. So
Uh-huh.
he wants something which is high. So that kind of makes sense.
Right.
And, we never think about these things, till somebody tells us, right?
Yeah. No, that's very interesting. So how many flex space units are you guys currently up to?
So Tom and I, between him and I think we're over 200 on the flex space. And the key is because I'm a renter, so I know exactly what these guys are looking for. So I take my expertise as a renter, I bring it back to Tom. I say, hey, man, these guys are the ones we might want to pitch to. And all you
Right.
do is you just put up a sign outside for lease, boom, gone. I mean,
Man,
you literally need no broker on these deals.
yeah, no, that's incredible. So you guys are able to pretty much self lease them yourselves, and do you guys manage them yourselves since it is with dealing with a professional, or do you have a management company?
So Tom is local down there, so he does some of the walkthroughs, but it's typically like managing would be like you just contract like let's say a landscape guy to come in like once a month
Right.
to clean up, or a maintenance guy to come in clean up once a month, but that's pretty much it. Or if they would call and say, hey, the water line, something is wrong with there, or maybe the main plumbing is causing issues, but other than that, Sam, not really.
Yeah. No, that just sounds like such an easier deal than because I mean Grant Cardone Real Estate Club, 101, they talk about how you need to find an apartment that has, at least over I think they said minimum should have over 60 units to be able to afford management. Ideally you want some, more the better, a couple hundred, but there's just so many moving pieces. You gotta, usually try to find on-site management, and then that's a whole staff and business within that, that you got to worry about. And so it just
100%.
sounds like you just get rid of all of that, don't have any of the landlord headaches, and then it's strictly professionals is what you're dealing with.
With multifamily, it's a great deal, but you got to understand it's a constant business. It's like Airbnb, right? You always have to be on the go.
Right.
You always it's got to be a full-time job. Otherwise, that place is going to suffer, like how I initially stated, like with my deals that went down under. It's if you're not treating like a business, it's going to go under. Right. Even these storage and these flex industrial, as easy as it sounds, it's still got to be treated like a business. It still has a balance sheet. It still has a P&L. We still have to worry about like, hey, is it covering the debt service coverage ratio kind of deal? Can we pay the bills? Those kind of things. But it makes it easier than multifamily because you're not going vacant for months.
Yeah. Now I'm curious because I'm definitely a very green when it comes to the flex space. Tom was the one who really opened my eyes, to it, and I've been doing some reading and stuff since. But the question I didn't ask him that I'd love to ask you is how does financing work on some of these deals? Because I know with apartments, you obviously can go get bank loans and stuff like that. Is it similar with industrial?
Same.
Okay.
Same. It's a pretty much the same thing. They look at the NOI. They want to make sure like what the cap rate, and it's the same deal. What I would say is the biggest leverage would be if someone can build it out from ground up, scratch. That's where you have the biggest cream of the crop.
Gotcha. So this is completely contrary to everything we've been taught at Grant Cardone's deal of don't build anything, buy proven spaces and stuff like that in great areas. So what you're telling me is let's flip that on its head, find a great location and buy a great piece of land and build it ground up is the way to go.
Exactly. If I were to look at a space, I would look at an industrial space, zone for industrial, right? And then what I would also do is making sure, like, let's say if there is a space that's for sale, but I have the ability to expand because once we can expand, man, we can build like another, like, let's say 40, 50 units on that land, and it's going to go, because the existing cash flow is going to cover exactly what's going on, and the new ones are just going to help even promote it more. So when people are coming in to those existing spaces, they're looking at, oh wow, there's more space being built, and sooner or later somebody will have an idea like, hey, let's go and find out what the rent is. And when they find out the rent is not as bad as a retail, they're like, okay, maybe I could come in here.
Right. So, what does the what is the like typical rent compared to retail? What's that like for the tenant?
So a typical rent, like in my space right now over here, and I'll give it the ones that we manage as well. So 1,000 square feet, we're looking at about $1,000, right?
Okay.
The space that I have it over here in Central Peoria, it's $1,400, $1,200 for 2,000 square feet. So it depends on the location.
Gotcha.
Because the taxes are lower, right? And this one is like a gross lease kind of deal. We don't have to worry about any of that stuff where I'm renting it from. So I think it's a great deal. But typically it's around that much. A retail, you're looking at about what, 15, 20, 25, $30 a square foot. And if you're times the math at 2,000 square feet, let's say $20 a square foot, you know, it's way higher than $1,400 and $1,500, dollars.
Right. Well, then what would you say if you were building them from the ground up? What would you say is like a perfect size unit? Like what would you build them? How would you build them?
Again, I would refer back to the code, like the building code. If we are starting off, for example, I would try to keep it as simple as possible. Every city has their own ordinances, right? So it's like if you're building anything over 10,000 square feet of land, of space in that whole place, and you're like looking at, let's say 5 or 6 units, then there's more requirements, right? So if I were to build one, I would probably keep it under 10.
Okay.
I'll keep it under 10,000, or maybe I'll have 1,500 square feet per unit, and I can squeeze a few out of there and run them out, and then just keep repeating, because it's a lot easier to get them up and running. Now, the minute you go over 10,000 square feet, now you're looking at, sprinklers, you're looking at fire, retardants, you're looking at a whole bunch of stuff where you'll have to take even longer and more expensive to build it out.
Okay, cool.
But again, that kind of gets offsetted by the economy of scale, once you start going bigger.
Right. So it's like if you're going to build over 10,000 square feet, you want to build way over 10,000 square feet, probably
or it's your not your first rodeo.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Well, tell us about what's the plan or goal for the next 12 months as far as real estate goes. So I know you guys are about 1,300 units in total, mixed of everything, 200 industrial units roughly. Is it now you're pretty much just looking straight forward at industrial and storage?
For now, yes. And I'll say yes and a no in a sense, because for me, my main thing, like I tell all my colleagues, my main thing is still my main business. Right. My dental. That is like my cash cow, right? We want to make sure we take care of that, my license, everything else. The industrial aspect, that is part of my real estate portfolio. And part of that is also going to be the real estate that's going to be holding some of the dental offices. That's going to be my future. That's going to happen. So It's going to be like twofolds. So how do I own the land and the property where my offices are, and how do I do this storage and flex industrial?
Right.
So we want to have a real estate portfolio. That's what my goal is. And then have my business portfolio, but then at the same time, focus more on the business. And, for me and my colleagues, I always say, like, if you're a dentist, you're a doctor, focus on that first.
Right.
Let the professionals handle the real estate aspect and be a passive. I think that's going to pay off much more dividends, more than we would actually sacrifice when we sacrifice our main thing and trying to manage real estate.
No, that makes complete sense. Out of curiosity, do you already own a lot of the real estate where some of your dental practices are? Or is that like something you're going to start, as you build them now?
So my whole model when I started was just to lease spaces and just to build the offices in there.
Right.
Because, like down the road from a lot of DSOs, which is dental service organizations and big private equity firms, they don't believe in buying real estate. Mm-hmm. They all want just the business aspect of it, right?
Right.
But for me, after being into real estate, I'm like, okay, if I were to ever sell, I'll sell the business, but I can still hold on to the real estate.
Man, I totally agree. So I didn't really tell you what my other main business is, but I own restaurants. I have four.
Nice.
They're called four. It's called Clean Eats. They're healthy cafes, and we do meal prep and stuff like that. But I have four locations, and right
Wow.
before, right before we got on this, I had someone message me about trying to open up another location in their area. And they sent me over the lease terms, and I immediately thought, I'm kind of at the point now. The four I have, I lease them all. But moving forward, I really, unless they're just going to give me a killer deal and do a complete build out for me, I really don't want to lease another space. A
Right.
wise person once told me that they don't spend money improving other people's buildings. And whenever
Yeah.
they told me that, that really hit home.
You and I, we think it the same way. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
because I know you've dropped some money, building out a dentist office. I mean, I know what it is for restaurant equipment, so I imagine dental equipment's also gets as a six-figure check
Right?
to
Yeah.
buy all that and build it out. And it's just like you do all these improvements, and it's just like, man, you did something really great for the landlord of that place, but then when you walk away, what do you get with it? And and that's kind of like I said, I'm seeing that same thing in mine, where that's where I'm wanting to switch out to add more real estate while I'm keep doing my main thing as well.
Correct. And that's the key. And a lot of people need to understand that, because I see some colleagues of mine, they're actually leaving, their day job, like, being a professional, and they're actually going and managing all this real estate stuff, like fixing, getting evictions and getting the toilets fixed. And I'm
Right.
like, man, what are you trying to do over here? Are you doing your main stuff there, or are you trying to like do something else, like a side hustle? So I strongly believe that. And also the fact that year after year, all our leases, our rents keep going up. Right. So I'm like, okay, so if we are busting our backs and we are actually creating this income for our landlords, why not we do the same for us? And let's turn the table around.
100%. No, I completely agree. So, what's the lifetime goal look like? And let's combine that question with your dental practices and your real estate. What are you trying to achieve completely? And is there a retirement day where you and your wife just go leave Illinois and move to Florida and live on the beach or something like that?
That's never going to happen.
All right. So what's the lifetime goal look like?
Yeah, so my lifetime goal is just to kind of keep going, exactly like as long as I'm breathing, just keep going, because once when it's your passion, you're not really feeling like you're working. And for me, like really creating my dental practices, it's my passion. Mentoring my doctors is my passion, and of course, at the same time, creating wealth with real estate, I think that's my passion. And as long as I can keep doing it physically, mentally, and spiritually, I think I'm gonna keep going. So my goal is a certain number, and then after that number, the number gets higher, and just keep going. So retirement is out of my vocabulary.
I love that answer. I mean, because I think people go longer and harder in life if they're on a mission.
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of people, they retire and then they quickly lose their health and die shortly after because they lose their purpose. And I can tell just by this conversation talking to you that, I mean, you're definitely a purpose-driven man who's fired up by it. And I love to see that, and know you love it so much that you don't want to give it up. You're already living the dream.
I call the word transition as a key word more than retirement, because when we reach a certain age, of course, there's a lot of things we can't do physically, right? But we transition into a role where we are still active and still in the same, arena, but making a bigger impact. And I think that's where you and I think we will be heading out to.
Oh no, I 100% agree. I always I tell my current girlfriend that I'll never retire. There might be a point in time where I quit doing things I don't like doing as much. There will probably be a day I quit self-managing real estate and have it all managed by others. But like I said, I like what I do, and I love the deals. I love the chase.
But I bet you will have something lined up before that happens.
Oh yeah,
and you're going to transition right into it seamlessly without any hesitation, and it's going to be like perfect fit, like for you.
That's actually it's like me, because that's exactly what the plan is. I never quit one thing until I got the next thing already in place for me to step into.
Exactly.
So, yeah. What are some of your favorite books? Anything used to be real estate, business, motivation. What are your 2 or 3 top favorite books that you think really helped you kind of get where you are in life?
So here's the deal with books. I didn't start reading till 2018.
Okay.
But when I say reading, I mean audiobooks. If you still tell me to read a book, it's not going to happen.
Uh-huh.
Right. So since 2018, I think I've done over like, I don't know, dozens and dozens of books.
Uh-huh.
However, and I still enjoy reading, and I mean audio when I say
Right.
reading.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. I still enjoy the audio books, right? And I still do it every single day with regardless, like, but one book that I keep going back to, it's Bob Proctor. And Bob Proctor's book, which is, the ultimate Bob Proctor collection, and that is one book that I keep reading. So it's a funny story too. Like, Bob Proctor says in his book that he was reading Think and Grow Rich. And, he's giving a story that his sister asked him that, okay, what book are you reading? And after 6 months, he's still reading the same book. And then after a year, he's still reading the same book. Right. So my story is pretty much Bob Proctor, and I'm reading the same book like for the last 3 years, 2.5 or 3 years. And
Wow.
I have other books that I read, but I still go back to Bob Proctor because it's all about mindset, Sam. I mean, you and I, we both know, like, running business, running real estate, trying to invest, trying to do anything, we got to get over our own hurdles first, the
Right.
mental challenges first. And that is what has helped me unlock many of those things.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I haven't read Bob Proctor's book. So I just added it to my list. I'm gonna go check it out. You strongly suggest it for Audible, because I'm gonna put it on my Audible right after this episode.
100%. So my sister also was asking me, okay, so you finished this book? I was like, well, yeah, I finished it. I'm back on it.
Right. Okay, cool. So it's like the Bible. You just keep coming back.
Keep coming back. And every time you hear it, you hear something new. It's not because it's something new. It's because you've changed on how you look at things. And that has really unlocked me to get into skydiving, which I was afraid. Let's put it that way. I would never, ever have jumped out of a plane, right? But this has really unlocked me because you learn how to challenge yourself. You learn how to control your mindset.
Man, how many times have you gone skydiving?
So here's the deal. The first time I went tandem and I loved it. I was like, man, I got to get back up in the air. I was like, how do you go solo? Then you're like, oh, you got to go through another tandem. And then after the second tandem, you got to go through an online class. And then from there, you have to go through a in-person class. And then you have to apply for an AFF, which is Accelerated Free Fall course. I'm like, sign me up.
Wow. So you're still in the process of doing that?
I'm still in the process. So I started back in September of last year. So I'm in Chicago, right? So it's like, they shut down for the season.
Right.
So I did September and October. So I'm in level 7. So April, they open back up, and I'm going to go back and start continuing and going back and finishing up and getting my A license. So that's my goal, by the way.
Okay.
And I think without Proctor's book, this would have never happened. What I kind of had this, this mental.
I'm gonna have to read it now, because I did tell my girlfriend I want to go skydiving. So that's pretty funny, because because I definitely I'm nervous about it. But man, you make it sound like it was totally life changing.
It is, and a lot of people are scared of the fall, and there is no such thing as you're going to feel that fall, because you don't.
Man, that's man, I'm trying to put myself in the fall right now, and I mean, it just seems terrifying.
It's a bliss. It will unlock a lot of mental barriers for you. Trust me on this.
Okay. Well, man, I had so much fun just kind of learning about how you gotten into this and industrial flex space. What's some advice you would give to someone starting today if they want to do what you're doing as far as investing in real estate the way you are?
Just invest. That's the biggest thing. Like Cardone says, just do it. Because here's the deal: if you're not going to do it, you'll never know. And a lot of times we are afraid that, oh, what if we lose? So what? We all lose. We are going to lose regardless if we invest or not. If we're not investing, we're still losing.
Right.
So I would say invest, but invest small, right? Get little wins under your belt. And when we start getting the traction, then start going a little bit more and a little bit more, like baby steps. And that's how I started. And that's the recommendation I can give based on my experience.
No, I think that's some great advice, because I mean, pretty much no one should invest anything that they can't afford to lose if they had to, so that's a big underlying, you'll see it in the disclaimer of pretty much anyone offering an investment. If it's not there, don't invest because it's definitely illegal what they're advertising. And
lastly, that's the best part about real estate is there's a tangible item, right? I mean, you can see it, you can feel it, you can touch it. But, with paper stocks, I mean, you and I, we both know it's just a number on a computer screen and that's it.
Exactly. And yeah, like we talked about, it's a number that was reported, and we hope they reported it honestly. Yeah. Right. Well, no, this was a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed having you on the show and everything you had to share. If someone wants to invest in a deal with you and Tom, what's the best way that they could do something like that? Is that, I'm assuming you guys are, once you guys find a deals, looking for, people.
Right. So Tom and I, we just launched a fund, and also we have this active Facebook group, which is called, Doctors Dentists Real Estate Club, Passive Real Estate Club. And that's for mainly all the doctors and dentists or nurses, hygienists, whoever. They come on in, we share lots of ideas. We share a lot of nuggets in there. We have deals that we present, and anybody who's looking to actively or passively invest, Sam's a great source, and of course, and just hit us up. My IG is, Dr. Dr. Noel Liu, and Tom's, Tom Bibi. And I mean, we're always there, always helpful. Just DM us. Look us up on Facebook, and we'll be able to, share a lot of ideas.
Awesome. No, I'm definitely going to be following you right after this episode. That way I can stay in touch and keep my eyes open whenever you guys, launch your next deal. Because I'm definitely interested myself, and nice. maybe I can even find some industrial space here in Florida we can build something on.
Florida's hot, by the way.
Yeah, well, I love it. Well, now everyone, I appreciate everyone listening to the show. If you want to hear anything more, or tell us what you want to hear on the next episode, check out our website, theeliterealestatepodcast.com. You can, like I said, send us a message there. Let us know the kind of real estate information you're interested in learning about. That's why we bring on experts like Dr. Liu here to tell us about some of the areas of real estate that I don't know as much about. So we got to bring an expert on that lives that life and has actually done it. And this gentleman here has. So check us out, though, on the eliterealestatepodcast.com. We have new episodes that are going on there. We will be adding some more things here pretty soon, as well as advertising deals that people have brought to us. So check us out there. I appreciate everybody listening to the Elite Real Estate Podcast, and we can't wait to see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.